Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So today let's have a look at the new quest for, I forget his name in English. In Japanese it's Shingoki, and that's kind of funny actually because Shingoki, usually it means a traffic signal machine, I guess you could say. But the kanji, the Chinese character that they use for the last word, ki, they use a demon instead of machine. So a little bit of trivia for you there. Anyway, gimmicks here are gravity barriers, warps, and blocks. And the most important thing to have is no gravity barrier. There's lots of those on every stage. And then, yeah, there are warps, as we can see, but they're kind of set up so that we can take advantage of them in order to get kind of pinch shots on the boss. So let's see if I do that with Mammon here. No, we'll go around. But yeah, we could jump into the left warp at a certain angle. We come out of the right warp and then get some pinch shots on the left side of Shingoki. So that could be useful. So that's why I have a couple characters without no warp. And then I have like Izanami, for example, who has no warp on the gauge. And then I could miss her gauge in order to enter the warp. Alrighty, to talk about the characters that I'm using Akala first. He's a bounce with no gravity barrier, and he's a power type, so his attack is very high. So he'll make good use of the kind of the close quarters that are around this mission. Next, I'm using Izanami, and she has both no gravity barrier and no warp. Like I just said, she can miss the gauge to enter the warp. And she's got a good meteor strike shot to clear the field. It feels kind of weird to explain how Izanami works since I've had her for so long. But actually I haven't used her in a little while, so it's kind of good to brush the dust off of her. Next I'm using Aramis Evolution, and she's kind of a wood Izanami. She has no gravity barrier, no warp, and a meteor strike shot. And there we just saw Aramis miss the gauge and jump into the warp so that she could kind of teleport to the bottom half of the screen where most of the guys are. And yeah, those blocks there in the middle, there's only 4 of them, but they do kind of get in the way and make it hard to get under there. So let's see what we do with Akala here. Alright, we'll jump into the warp and come out the bottom side and then set off Mammon's flare bump combo. And yeah, speaking of Mammon, I just pulled him, very happy about that. And he has no gravity barrier as well. He does not have no warp, so he can jump into the warps. And then he and Akala, they both have the same bump combo of flare. But Akala is a power type, so his bump combo is a little bit weaker. So we're going to try to have some fun with flare on this mission. And then Mammon, he also has the new strike shot where he becomes a pierce until he hits a wall, and then he reverts back to bounce. And so he'll be pretty good for pinching on this quest as well. And then that happens every other turn, or every other round, every 8 turns. So we can get a lot of use out of that. Okay, there is Akala showing off his high attack power. And then let's hit Mammon in the upper right, see how much damage he does to that gas mask. Pretty good. Oh, and some nice damage on Shingoki as well, so. Alright, so with Aramis we'll miss the gauge, enter the warp, and then get on top of the boss there and do some good damage. And then here we'll take advantage of Mammon's flare. Pretty nice. And I think here with the Akala we'll jump in the warp. Alright, excellent. Oh, and a drop. Very good. Yeah, flare really is one of my favorite bump combos. Takes a little bit of kind of positioning to use. But that's kind of easy to do with Mammon, since he can sort of wedge himself in between a boss and a wall. Okay, next boss stage. This is kind of a long boss sequence. So it could be a little bit difficult to max luck him. Oh, and I guess I'll take this chance to talk about the character of Shingolki itself. You should only really think about using it if you were very interested in the one-way laser. I really like the one-way laser a lot. But after making Vendetta and then Typhon, I kind of feel like I don't need any more. If you did not have any others, though, and you wanted to, you know, test out the one-way laser, then Shingolki could be good. His evolution and ascension form have different null abilities, so you could pick and choose there. Okay, nice flare there. And then here I think we'll take advantage of Mammon's strike shot. So we'll set off the bump combos and then get stuck on the right side of the boss. Okay, so just as advertised, we pierced through everything until we hit the wall, and then we reverted back to bounce. Alright, this should take down the boss. Alright, very good. And we'll take care of this Smiter here. Okay, 14 seconds left to S rank. That is not going to happen. Okay, so second to last stage. Same idea here. We'll just take down the little guys as we do damage to the boss. If we liked using the warps, we could leave the null warp monster. And I think we'll try that here. No. Oh, and I should say that Flare has a small chance to stun the guy, similar to Tsukuyomi's lightning, so that's an added benefit. I don't think we'll see it this playthrough, but it is there. Okay, so I'm looking at my team, and I see that I have 2 meteor strike shots. So we'll go ahead and use one here, and then we'll save Izanami's for the last stage. Alright, now we hit everybody. Woo. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and use Mammon's strike shot a lot. We don't need to worry too much about using it, since it charges up every other round. Okay, decent damage, and then he's well set up for Flare the next turn. We'll see if we can get that with Akala. Perfect, alright. Okay, last stage. So we'll go ahead and use Izanami's Meteor, just try to clear the field as much as possible. Yeah, decent. Those blocks kind of got in my way. And yeah, I did say that I made a list of monsters that we're going to see a lot of use in this year. I made that last year. And Izanami was one of my picks. And yeah, here again we're seeing an example of where she comes in handy. But it's really going to be the latter part of the year that I think it's going to be, she's going to be super handy. Okay, so here we have the weak point lined up for Akala strike shot, so let's go ahead and use that, and clear the stage, yay. Really, really like Akala and his strike shot. It's very strong if you can get the positioning right. Okay, so that was Shingolki, and I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching. Take care.